Hey guys, what's good my homages? This is gonna be a sit down video if you can't tell. There's not a lot of room. My tripod sucks ass. There's a lot of stuff on top of my fridge, okay? We're working with it though. And of course I'm filming this video 15 minutes before I need to leave to work. That's bothersome. I'm just gonna go like that. Yeah. Oh, clutter everywhere. I had to move that too. My house is teeny tiny, but I wanted to talk to you guys because I've had something on my mind for the past few days. It was a little bit before Valentine's Day, and I know I went on a date. I ended up getting ghosted, and a guy essentially just kind of used me. We'll just put it that way, I was used. And I think the conversation would go a lot further if people would just communicate, but a lot of people hide because they're afraid to tell people how they really feel. That's just the reality of the truth. But after talking with a few friends this week about relationships and stuff like that, I'm really proud of myself for how far I've came. It hit me the other day, and it was just like out of nowhere. I can't even describe it into words. I'm gonna try and blurt it out how I'm seeing it in my head, or like how I see it in my head and how I'm feeling it in my heart. I don't feel the need to be with someone right now. I feel like I don't really have room for that in my life. And it hit me. It was Valentine's Day, and maybe the day before too, but these things just keep happening, and these little signs from God or however you want to put it. But I was putting the cardboard in the dumpster after a shift, and it was my shift, the day of Valentine's Day, and the old version of me would have been really sad, like, oh, I'm so lonely, and I would have cried on my way home, and that's what I was anticipating. I was anticipating for that to happen, and I was okay. Like, it just hit me. I was okay with going home by myself, eating my snacks, brushing my teeth, doing my routine, and going to bed. I was okay with it. And in that moment, I was really proud of myself because I've worked really hard to get here. I've been very open about this before, but I've struggled with sort of a codependency in relationships. And I think a lot of that stems from, childhood and patterns, and all that stuff comes from childhood, obviously. But I'm not sharing this for anyone to give me advice or feel sorry for me. I'm just sharing my journey so it could hopefully inspire some young girl. I wish that there would have been videos like this for me 10 years ago. And there's videos out there like, you have to be happy with yourself before you can be happy with anyone else. Yes, to a certain extent. I don't necessarily know if it's happiness though. Like, I have depression. I struggle with my mental health. I'll probably forever have issues like that to a certain degree. I'm gonna continue healing, bettering myself, because that's all we can do at the end of the day. And I don't get to pick which days I'm depressed. I don't get to pick which days I have anxiety. What I get to choose is what kind of tactics I'm gonna use. Like, what do I need to change in my life? What shifts do I need to make? I'm getting better about tending to my own needs that way. And I don't think it's a matter of necessarily you have to love yourself before you love others. It's more of like being comfortable in your own skin before you love someone else. And everyone's got a different story. I'm not saying that's the way it's supposed to be, because obviously I don't know fully because it hasn't came into my life yet. But I'm no longer sad about not having someone there. Like, I walked in my door, what was it, Friday? Yeah, Friday was Valentine's Day. And then Saturday I picked up a shift. And I walked inside of my front door and I had nobody to tend to. I took care of my stuff and I sat down, and I feel like I've had a lot of people tell me, Tyler, don't block out love either. And I'm not. It's just, things are different this time. And I don't know what changed. I don't know what shifted within myself and whatever's going on in my life, but I feel this shift, and it's what I've been praying for years, and I've done a lot of work to get here. But I have a full-time job, I have a business, I'm trying to work on my goals. Like, I hardly have time to edit content, you guys. Like, I'm behind. I think I only have 2 weeks of content. Usually I'm a month ahead. I think by the time you see this, I'm filming this on February 17th and I'm posting it on probably March 17th, which seems like a month ahead, but I also have other videos to film, other videos to edit. I just feel like I'm falling very behind in that way. But never in my life have I been so locked into my goals and so locked into what I'm doing. I don't know what is driving me, but I have like this, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to put this into words, but I believe in my dreams so much that I'm not gonna stop ever. Like, I'm not even gonna stop when it happens. I could say that I'm not gonna stop until it happens, but no matter how sad I am, no matter how many times I beat myself up, no matter how many times I get frustrated in the process, I'm not quitting. And I made that promise to myself, and I'm very proud of myself for how far I've came in this life. And even a year ago, I'm a completely different person. Even my last relationship, I'm a completely different person. 30 is a strange age in a good way. I don't know if this happens to everybody, but I really worked hard to love myself because I didn't like who I was in that aspect. I didn't think very highly of myself. I had very low self-esteem. I've always had this unwavering belief within myself. I think that maybe that's one of my gifts, but comparing myself to others or thinking not necessarily that, but not thinking anyone likes me. But oh God, we watch these movies when we're younger, and I've heard people talk about this on podcasts before, but we hear people talk about their person, and that's all my eyes were focused on. And I never understood why it didn't happen for me. And there were a lot of times even this year that I was like, why hasn't it happened for me? And I think, not saying not everybody has a purpose, everybody has a different walk in life. And I think the greater the purpose, the bigger battles you're gonna fight, and you gotta do a lot of shit by yourself, and it's not fun. But if it wasn't for those moments, as crappy as that sounds, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be sitting in the comfort of my own home, not crying because a guy didn't buy me flowers and chocolate. I had this conversation with one of my best friends, I think last week, but I told this person, I was like, the last guy that I went out on dates with, this is just an example. I used it as an example. I was like, after he ghosted me, I thought to myself, do I really want to spend the next 60 years with this person? And the answer was no. And I don't know why I tried to cling so tightly onto it, but it was a pattern. It was familiarity, right? Because it's the same type of guy that I dated before. And I'm not saying that anyone's bad and I'm great and they suck. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it took a long time to get here, and it took a lot of being really honest with myself about where things need to change in my life. But I have so many goals, and I'm just fully focused on my career. And, before, when I had my endometriosis excision surgery, I was really sad and crying like, hey, maybe I want kids one day. I still maybe do, but that's not my priority. And there's this push from people, oh, you should have babies or this and that, and they're kind of stopping at this point, or people are telling me I'm too old. I think I've reached a point in my life, and I'm probably still gonna battle from time to time because I'm human, everyone does, but I've reached this place in my life where I'm okay with whatever happens because I know God's got me. I know there's a greater picture for me, and there's maybe gonna be times where I'm still kicking and screaming like a little kid, but that's the 8-year-old version of myself. Those are still parts of me. I'm still 14-year-old me. I'm still 20-year-old me. I think it took until 30 to let my inner child fully emerge. And people think that maybe I'm immature, but I'm extremely mature. I just like to have fun because life is short, and I like to make people laugh because we don't laugh enough. We don't say I love you enough. We don't tell our friends that they mean something to us enough. And life is very hard to find balance. And I think that that's where a lot of times we get lost, because I think it was Emma Chambers was talking. There was this pie graph, and it's your social life, your school, and your career, and you had to pick 2 or whatever. I don't remember exactly which podcast it was, but kind of like she was saying, there's going to be things in your life that are out of balance. And right now what's out of balance is my house is a mess, and I am having a really hard time with time. And I think that there's a part of me that needs to lighten the load in a couple of weeks. I don't know what that's going to entail and what that's going to look like, but I'm just kind of living day by day and just trying my best. That's all you can do at the end of the day, is just try your best. I don't fully know what this video is about. I just wanted to talk at the camera because I've had all these thoughts inside of me. I've even thought about starting a podcast at some point because I have a different way of looking at life, and there's times where I fall on my face. I know all the things that I should be doing. I have the answers. They're locked inside of us. The answers are inside of us. Sometimes I think it's just really hard to take a good long look in the mirror and accept that for what it really is, and I'm okay. And that's liberating. I can travel, I can pay off my house if I want to, and I've reached the point where I really don't want to be with anyone. It'd be cool, in the future, but I guess if it didn't happen for me, I'm okay with it, because this life is beautiful, and there's so much more to life than a partnership or a relationship. And maybe that's not your journey. Maybe you did find your person at a young age, and maybe you're pursuing your passion, and maybe that's your focus right now. there's different stages of life. We don't all start out the same. It's not meant to be that way. And I also kind of wanted to say too, like, I remember when I was 17, 18, I really wanted to go to art school, and I just think about how different my life would be if I went to college for art. It wouldn't be what it is now. It wouldn't be the story it is today. What led me to art, what led me back to art, it was the higher power, God. And how it's crazy how that's the one thing that I ran from is what saved me. Art saved my life, music saved my life, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I never thought it would be possible to reach a point in my life where I'm totally okay being alone and being single, but I am. There's lonely moments here and there, yes. Like when you're sitting there at the end of the night and you kind of want to share your life with someone, absolutely, but I don't have room for that in my life right now. I can hardly even balance my friendships and my family right now. I feel like I'm really lacking in that department. I'm really struggling with balance and I need to rest more. I know I'm a bit of a workaholic, but God, I believe in this so much. Whatever I'm doing, my YouTube videos, my art, and it's taken a long time to really love myself this authentically and give myself compassion and the grace and the self-love. I don't hate me anymore. I don't think I'm a bad person. I think that I have my flaws and I know what they are. I know what my weak points are. I know that if I don't sleep, I'm irritable. I know I can be cranky. I know that if I don't get enough sleep, I'm short-tempered. You know, when I was starting to feel bad about those things, but I think that everybody gets cranky sometimes. And everybody deals with different emotions. I'm just more so struggle with anger, and I think a lot of that anger is not speaking up for myself, so I've learned to do that. I've been learning to communicate a lot better, and I'm still working on it. It's not easy. As much as I'm an open book, I still struggle with communication, and I'm working on it, and I think that that's the best that we can do at the end of the day. But yeah, I don't know, if I heard 20-year-old me saying this stuff, I probably would think I'm effing crazy. Like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, hopeless romantic me. And there's still 20-year-old me inside of my body. And absolutely, I believe in real love. Absolutely, I believe in someone that can fill that heart space. Not fill a void, but just fill the love tank up even more. And I think one of the things that really puts a bad taste in my mouth is, I'm just going to talk about this because I'm very honest, is seeing married men look at me or check out other women while they're standing next to their wife or their girlfriend, or vice versa. I've seen women do it too, mostly men. And I'm not saying men are bad, but I was in the merch line last night. I didn't talk about this on my vlog because I completely forgot. Sorry, I'm running out of time. I gotta start my car, but I'm gonna end this in a little bit here, but hang on, let me start my car. Anyways, what I was saying is I was standing in the merch line and there was this guy and he had like his hands all over his girlfriend. He's like, babe this, babe that. Okay, great. You want to be lovey-dovey in public? That's phenomenal. Like, great for you too. I don't care. Like, I think that that's beautiful. But then she goes to pay for his stuff and he takes a step back and he's looking at me and he's giving me the eyes, and I just looked at him like, and I just shook my head and didn't say anything, and I just looked at him like, dude, seriously? Really? You're gonna disrespect your girlfriend behind, like, regardless if it's behind her back or in front of her, whatever I'm trying to say, like, people, man, like, I think you have to be very picky, because there's a lot of people, I think it's always kind of been a thing, but especially with social media, there's a lot of people who lack morals, and I can't say everybody, because I know that there are people who genuinely value a relationship, but there's a difference between looking at someone and checking somebody out. Like, you can look at someone and be like, oh, they're a pretty person or they're a handsome human being and move on with your life, but not like, you know, the up and down view. And that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. And it's like, you, my guy, is the reason why it's people like that. But like, what I'm trying to say is it's important to pick somebody who's for you. It's important. You're gonna spend the next 60 years with this person, then you have to work with them, and that's another thing too, like, being single gets lonely, but relationships are work no matter if they're really good. Like, I know people in some of the best relationships, they do couples therapy. It takes work, and I don't really have time for that, and I think that that's okay because that's my stage in my life, but I'm not closed off to the idea completely, but I know what I want, and I know what my dreams are, and I know what purpose God planted inside of my heart. And the only way it would work while I'm doing this is if someone helped fuel me and we fueled each other. And I think that that's really how it's supposed to be. Supportive. I heard this quote one time and it said, you know you met your person when you find someone that's willing to work with you. And more than nothing else, that in itself is a true statement. And I've always picked people that didn't pick me back and I couldn't figure out why. And I think maybe what it had to take is for me to choose myself. I walked into the concert last night and I noticed I have like a confidence level, like it's different. I walk into a room and I don't really give a fuck about what anyone's thinking. I'm just like, whatever, like I'm here. And that's attractive to people, which is very odd. But anyway, I don't think I'm like a 10 or I'm a smoke show, and that's not what this video entails. But I just wanted to make this video because after struggling the majority of my 20s and trying to find my worth in a romantic relationship, that's part of life and that's a bonus, but it's not the end all be all, if that makes any sense. I hope that this helped. Let me know if you want me to continue making videos like this. I probably will anyway, regardless of what people say. I just want your feedback. And I like these sit-down chats with some coffee. I want to start a podcast eventually down the road. It's going to take a little bit because I have lots of irons in the fire. I can hardly keep up with what I got now, but down the road, maybe in the next year, I want to do a podcast sit-down style, and maybe I'll have guests on my channel. I've been thinking about this for a year, so let me know what you think. I'm gonna go to work because if I don't leave in 2 minutes, I'm gonna be late, so I'm gonna end this video here. Thanks for listening if you made it to the end. I hope this made sense. I kind of was rambling, but it's just kind of what I've been thinking, and I wanted to get it out and put that energy out there somewhere. So maybe this inspired you to just be, and it'll come to you. Regardless if it's your career, an open door, a person. In the midst, it gets kind of difficult sometimes, but I think a lot of times if we just surrender, things would come to us a lot easier. But anyways, I'm gonna pop off here. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I hope you have an amazing day. Love you guys. Peace the fuck out, my homages. Yeah.